Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Early Edge. What a great Friday it is going to be. Thank you for being in the chat. Hit the like button. And of course, this show is brought to you by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. Speaking of Vegas, let's see how we did with our bets yesterday. Okay, a winning recap screen, 4-2. I go 2-0 with my golf matchups. I'll have another one for you here today on the show. Sniper, 1 for 2. SportsLine, 1 for 2. Hey, listen. We'll take a winning day every single time, but 4-2 is not super impressive. We got to raise the bar a little bit. And ladies and gentlemen, we always raise the bar, picks or no picks, on BPE Friday. What is happening? We got the Sniper. We got Mikey B. We got Chip Patterson. We got Buckets. I don't know what Buckets is doing right now. We got Brian Smith with BPE Friday, followed by a ton of exclamation points. Daniel Rogers, Jeremy Heinrichs. We're all waiting. We are all waiting. We are all wanting. We are all needing a chip me up.
Good morning, Sia. Good morning, Buckets. Good morning, Sniper. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Early Edge fam. And in this house, we like to say the standard is the standard. That means we strive for excellence relentlessly. And so that means when Lynx Patterson, a.k.a. Chip Shots, comes out here last Friday and throws a pow, 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 a couple green checks on the board, the standard is set. And that's what we're bringing to you. That's what we're bringing today. That's what we're bringing next week, all through the off season, because there is no off season. Lynx Patterson, Chip Shots in the house. Let's go.
Lynx Patterson, Chip Shots. We need t-shirts. That is amazing. Love it, Chip. Buckets, talk to me. How you doing and what were you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Sia, what about you?
Okay. Well, I was just wondering what that first thing you were doing. Was that like a wrestling move with the screaming? What was that?
Oh, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of winging it today. You
Yeah,
know how I do.
Fair enough, Sniper. You're never winging it. You've always got some sort of plan of attack. How you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm a little annoyed at myself from 24 to 36 hours ago because I was definitely going to play Corbin Carroll over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs instead of Taj Bradley. But the line wasn't posted when I went to bed Wednesday night. And I thought, screw it, I'll just go with Taj Bradley instead. Bradley did not hit. Corbin Carroll would have hit. That's my fault. That's an April mistake. And if anything, I needed to get me back in the groove of things. It was a mistake like that. I need to not make those.
I will say this. First of all, you were 1 for 2, so that's fine. Mackenzie was on the show yesterday, and if memory serves, she gave out a bunch of live plays, including, I think, a home run prop. If any of you in the chat took advantage of it, let me know, because she gave out a bunch of live plays on the show, which we tend to do, and they did really, really well. So just note, that is noteworthy. 1 for 2 Sniper, nothing to be mad about there. But I hear you on that. Mikey B, I haven't seen you since 2 days ago. How you feeling? I kind of rubbed it in. I'm not gonna lie. I had a couple of tweets out there. I kind of rubbed in the triple showdown win for me against you and Buckets and A-Mags. How you doing? Bulls out of it, Heat in it. They play tonight. What's going on, my friend?
That's what happens when you go heart over head. My Bulls were terrible. Congratulations to you. I have somewhat rebounded, but I'm still hurting. That was terrible. It was awful. Congratulations to you. Sorry, Buckets. Sorry, A-Mags. That was my fault.
Well, Joe Newensfeld says, rub it in again. See it. Can I ask you something before we get to your pick, Mikey B? We are going to start off with you. The 7 seed Warriors are minus 190 to win the series versus number 2 seed Houston. Your thoughts on that number?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I figured they'd be favorites just because even though the Rockets were the number 2 seed, they're very young. This is their first chance. But Ime Udoka's a really good coach. I would have put it somewhere like maybe Warriors minus 130, somewhere around there. But minus 190 is quite a bit there. I do expect the Warriors to advance, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a long series. I think the Rockets win at least 2 games, if not 3.
All right.
I was going to say, it feels like the type of series where if you were filling out a bracket, like I know they don't do brackets as much for NBA. There are places where you do it. If you're filling out a bracket, I'd put the Warriors. I would not lay minus 190. Like I just feel like the price just doesn't line up with the probabilities there. Hey, guess what? What happens if Steph turns his ankle? right? I mean, like, one thing could go wrong for a team that is a little bit on the older side. But playoff Jimmy, all of a sudden something goes sideways. There's lots of ways that experience gap could be eliminated.
Yeah, totally agree on that. Well, Mikey B, we want to get to the NBA. We got people in the chat. I think it was John that said Heat money line seems easy. Now, to your credit, you did have 2 picks 2 nights ago, and neither of them were taking the Bulls on the money line or taking the Bulls -1.5. But what's interesting, or at least what would be interesting, Mikey B, is you turning it around and maybe going Heat money line tonight.
Yeah, I do like Heat money line. This is, no sour grapes here. We want winners. We got to put the emotions aside. I think the Heat are going to win this game. They couldn't have looked any better in that game against the Bulls. Tyler Hero was great. Andrew Wiggins was great. They held the Bulls to 90 points, so they played excellent defense. During the regular season, the Heat had the 9th best defensive rating in the league. What concerns me with the Hawks, we saw what a great defensive team like the Magic could just do to them. They held them to 95 points on Tuesday. Trae Young was all sorts of frustrated. He got himself tossed out of the game. Well, guess what? Now he's got Davion Mitchell's going to be hounding him for this whole game. Mitchell is a very good defender. He held Kobe White in check in that game, and he did that many times when he was with the Heat too. So I think the Heat are the better team here. They have the better coach, as Sia likes to remind us. Yes, Eric Spoelstra is better than Billy Donovan. So I'm going to take the Heat on the money line. And then we got to do a player prop. I'll go to the Grizzlies-Mavericks game. Desmond Bane over 21.5 points at -120. The strength of the Mavericks defense is the ability to protect the paint. Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, all healthy, very good rim protectors. Well, they are not good defending the perimeter, which is where Desmond Bane shines. He shot 39.2 per 6 from behind the arc this season. He has never finished the season shooting worse than 38.1% from 3. When these two teams played each other in March, Bane had 27 points. In that game against the Warriors the other night, Bane played 39 minutes, had 30 points. I think he sails over this 21.5. And it's worth noting, John Morant officially questionable with his ankle injury. I do think he plays, but if there's any sort of a limitation for him, they're going to need even more scoring for Bane. So I like over 21.5. That's where I got it. I've seen 22.5 in some places. I would take the over on that too.
All right, 21.5. We'll play it as high as 22.5. And we like the Heat money line as well. So I'm going to put this out to everybody because we've got at least another 20 minutes on this show, give or take. We've got a couple of birthdays in the chat. Stephen Cook has a birthday. I saw that John Parker has a birthday. So happy birthday, Stephen Cook. Happy birthday, John Parker. And you know what happens, Mikey B, when somebody has a birthday, they want a birthday parlay. And that doesn't have to come exclusively from you. Maybe it's from Buckets. Maybe it's from Chip. Maybe it's from Snyper. But I feel like, Mikey B, you and Snyper might be in the best position to give out some sort of Pampers-like birthday parlay. So let's give that a shot as we kind of go through this show.
You guys make your picks. I'm on it. I'm out of the way. You guys relax. I got it.
All right. And go ahead. Go ahead, Sniper. Oh, you've got it too.
I was saying thank you. Good job. Or yeah, that was
all
that.
Right. And again, happy birthday to you both. John Parker says, love you, Early Edge family. All right, Buckets. We're going to go to soccer next. I don't know. Maybe you'll cook up a parlay for later on in the show. You've got a couple of picks for the pitch today. What are they?
Oh, yeah, Sia. Here's the deal. I've been a bit cold lately, but I've decided just now that I'm going to turn that around. Just making a cognitive decision to start winning again. Let's talk about plays and 3 winners upcoming this afternoon, starting in the Danish Super League with Brøndby hosting Nordsjælland. And we're taking Brøndby over 1.5 team total, currently priced at -125. Brøndby has been a very hot or cold team. One week they're beating the best teams that Danish has to offer. The next week they're struggling to beat a U16 team. They're just a bit of a tricky team to bet on, so you have to bet on their form. And right now, their form is red hot. They are coming off of back-to-back victories against really big clubs, including beating Midtjylland 2-0 in the Superliga playoffs and beating Copenhagen 2-1 in that same playoff. This is a team that you have to find them when they're winning, but that's when you slam them. Take them over 1.5 team total against a Nordsjælland side that is very poor defensively. And then we've got a bad line alert, Sia, in the Portuguese Primera. I am not kidding you guys. When I say if this was -200, I would be screaming from the mountains that you have to take it because the juice is worth the squeeze. Porto versus Famalicão. Right now, you can get both teams to score at -110. That is a stupid line. I do not care if this bet misses. That is a dumb line that should not exist. And it is a line that I do not mind double dipping and slam dunking 2 units on this one, because you have to look at the head-to-head history and how Famalicão plays this matchup. These teams have played 15 times since 2016. Both teams to score has hit in 14 times out of those 15 since 2016. And the one time it did not hit, Famalicão got an early red card, shutting down their chances of scoring anything. Famalicão knows how to score against this Porto side. Porto is good enough that they should score against anyone. I absolutely adore both teams to score, and it is my favorite play of the entire weekend slate. Third and final play, we go to France's Ligue 1, where we have Stade Rennes taking on FC Nantes. Take Stade Rennes over 1.5 team total at -120. They have poured so much money into this club during the January transfer period. That, plus their new manager, Bounce, is seeing them finally start to play how they're supposed to be playing. They are coming off a massive 5-1 win against Le Havre. Nantes is a terrible defensive side. Go for Stade Rennes over 1.5 team total.
All right, Stade Rennes over 1.5 caps a 3-pick total from Buckets. Absolutely love the takes, Buckets. 1, 2, 3. Let's go 3-0. By the way, Katie Taylor in the chat, she says, "Oh my, why did I think today was Saturday? Almost missed the show." I want to be in a place where I think it's Saturday as well. Katie, thanks for being in the chat, and everybody hit the like button if you could. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to transition to Lynx Patterson. Chip Patterson, aptly named. Chip, you and I have a golf pick. You're going first.
All right, so I've got honors on the tee box. I guess is the way that we would say this. All right, I've got honors. Okay, so we are going to Hilton Head. We are going to the RBC Heritage. I've got you with a little 1:50 p.m. Eastern time, so you got a little bit of time, but let's get this in early so you can get the best price. We are going Jordan Spieth over Shane Lowry. A reminder that because we've got the limited field, it's a SIGGY event. That means that we don't have 3 balls, but we still have great opportunity here with Spieth over Lowry. So yesterday, round 1, Jordan Spieth, 6th in the field, tee to green. He goes out in 32. He's smoking hot. We're just like, oh, Spieth Island is back. Here he comes. But the putter cools off a little bit. I'm okay with that because we are dealing with somebody who, when that ball striking is good, he doesn't get too wayward off the tee because of the way this course sets up. All good things, good vibes for Jordan Spieth. Now, let's look at Shane Lowry, who objectively is not hitting it as well. That is on approach. That is tee to green. Just in general, Shane Lowry has not looked like he's got his best stuff. Now, he can still score because he's a world-class talent, but I think that those are the things where the sticky stats end up catching up with you here in round 2. Now, let's throw in course history for Jordan Spieth. That is a winner in 22. That is a runner-up finish in 23. It is hard to think that Jordan Spieth, as he's looking up at the top of the leaderboard with Justin Thomas setting the pace, it's hard to think that Jordan Spieth is not going to keep his pedal to the metal. Love what I saw from him yesterday. Shane Lowry looking a little rickety, and we got a little plus money. Let's drop it with Jordan.
Let's drop it with Jordan at plus money. We love to see that. Sniper, I want to get you involved here. I know you have baseball picks later on in the show, but there are some baseball picks in the chat. I think some of them that you address, so feel free to speak on those. But Jason Reyes talks about Tigers, Royals, NRFI. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I replied to that in the chat. As I said, the one thing that always scares me is if you have a complete stud on one of the lineups that's liable to hit a home run. And when I see Bobby Witt Jr. in there against Reese Olson, there's a little bit of, okay, or wait, it's Jackson Jobe today. Sorry, Reese Olson was yesterday. You get worried about Bobby Witt Jr. being in there. I would be more inclined, if anything, like I did the other day when I took the Tigers zeros for the first 3 innings, Cole Reagans against that Tigers lineup. I'd be more inclined to just say Tigers no runs for 3 innings than I would, because there's always the possibility that Bobby Witt Jr. just pops one.
Tigers no runs 3 innings was the same play that Sniper had 2 days ago when we did our live betting show.
That was awesome. I hope
you
all had fun. It was a lot of fun on like the consumption side.
Yeah, and I think it was a lot of learning too, not just for everybody in the crowd, like for me as well, and I think for even some of the other capital, like to hear how Sniper approaches things, or Amags, or Mike McClure, Zach. Like there was just a lot of different permutations of how people approach live betting. I thought it was really good. I think we're going to try to do one next week as well, maybe Wednesday. We haven't officially planned it, but more of those are coming, not just for day baseball. We're going to have some later on in the year for night baseball too, when a bunch of games are converging. So again, make sure you're subscribed to this channel because you just get so much out of those particular live betting shows. Buckets, there was a question from Steve Bailey. Espanyol versus Getafe, both teams to score. Any thoughts there?
I really, really like it, but it's one of those very weird matchups where I don't like the over. I would think it goes under 2.5, but I like the 1-1 draw here. Getafe has been exceptional recently in their away games. I can't talk today. I don't know why, but Barcelona is a very tough team to beat. Espanyol Barcelona at home right now. I like both teams to score, but I think this stays a very cagey and probably slow 1-1 draw.
All right, we got to get to more picks, including SportsLine picks, but I got to point this out because I love a narrative. So first of all, let me get this one out of the way. Scott Wise says Dansby Swanson going the yard. So thank you for using the proper terminology. There's always the before the yard on this show. Dustin Wiles says Bregman just had a baby. First game back, betting his home run. I love that narrative of Snyper. Does this happen to also be a good matchup for Bregman?
Actually, I did not dive deep into that one.
Okay.
But yeah, that reminds me of, I remember Mike Trout after the Trout's first child was born. He hit a home run in like the first 3 games back. So that's always the daddy narrative. Okay, let's see. Martin Perez of the White Sox is left-handed. It's in Fenway Park. Oh yeah, that's a good spot there. Yep.
Yeah. Let's do that. Dustin Wiles, I think that's a really good find. By the way, again, we got to get to more picks. These Friday shows tend to be a little bit longer. I'm trying to incorporate the chat as much as I can. But Mikey B, I see you kind of plugging away. You don't have to be ready right now, but it looks like you're plugging away trying to get a birthday parlay together.
Yeah, I think I've got some options. I think I got a little conservative one and then maybe a little less conservative one. So how about I give out 2? Because there's a lot of talk in here about multiple birthdays. They're kind of the same, but they're also a little different.
Are you ready to give them out now? Because we have some rope
here.
Sure. I can give them out. Okay, let's go.
Okay. We'll go conservative one first, okay? Now, because Sniper's here, we're going to throw a baseball one in here too, and he can give his opinion if he likes me adding that to the parlay. Mm-hmm. So our more conservative parlay, Desmond Bain to score at least 20 points. Now, again, we like the over on 21.5. But I like round numbers for parlays. So we're going to do just 20 points. Then we've got the Heat plus 5.5. Now, I think they win, but this is a way to play it at an alt spread. I don't think there's any way the Hawks blow them out in this game. So plus 5.5. And then we're going to take Phillies money line at home, Zach Wheeler against the Marlins. You put all that together, that is plus 217. So that's still pretty good odds for some conservative plays. While I'm applying the odds for the next one, Snyder, what do you think about adding the Phillies to that parlay?
Oh, I'll get to them, but I like it.
Oh,
that's
nice.
A little spoiler. That's a little
good tease. Let's go.
Say, all right, now you ready for
synergy here? Good synergy here.
Okay, are we ready for the other one? The less conservative parlay. Okay, we're going to keep Desmond Bain at 20 plus points. We are going to keep the Phillies money line. We are going to add to it the Heat money line because I think they win. That's plus 328.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's go. I like it.
Happy birthday to everybody. Let's put diapers on kids. Let's take care of everything else possible financially. The market's down. Maybe the parlays can bring us back.
It's Adam says Mikey B sounding like he's on The Price is Right. That's pretty funny. That's good stuff. All right, let's get to some more picks and more discussion, more of your questions in the chat. I see Dano has a Brent Rooker prop out there, which maybe we can address later in the show. But we've got some NBA plays here. Jaylen Brown over 18.5 points from Prop Stars. Okay. At minus 120. And then we've got the Mets minus 1.5 at plus 130. That's from JLC. Don't forget, Prop Stars and Mackenzie Brooks had picks on yesterday's show as well, which applied to tonight. Ben, I don't know if you're going to have those for the recap screen, but again, don't forget we have 2 picks from yesterday that are actually playing out tonight. But here are the SportsLine picks. Jaylen Brown over 18.5 points at minus 120, and the New York Mets run line at plus 130 from JLC. And then producer Ben Wittenstein has been hot. I think he's won 7 or 8 in a row at this point. It's Grizzlies first quarter. Interesting. Minus 1.5 at minus 112. The last bet from Ben was a first quarter bet. It was on the Heat. He hit that one. We're taking the Grizzlies first quarter -1.5 here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get to my golf pick. We got to get to Sniper's 2 MLB picks. More of your picks in the chat. We're going to do it right after this message from our partners.
One of golf's elite courses, Quail Hollow, hosts the game's top players at the PGA Championship this May on CBS.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking a lot of sports. How about a cross-sport or any sport parlay courtesy of BetMGM? BetMGM users can receive an any sport parlay boost token. Use this parlay boost token, simply create a parlay with any sport wagers and activate the token. If that parlay wins, you'll win extra winnings. BetMGM users can also receive an MLB home run boost token. To use the token, add an MLB home run wager, which we just discussed, by the way, to your bet slip and activate the token. Score extra winnings if you win only at BetMGM. All right, I've got a 2-ball to discuss before we break down some baseball with the Sniper. Round 2, 2-ball. It's this afternoon. I think this one starts in about an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half. Sepp Straka, it's kind of pricey. -130 over Davis Thompson. I just think Sepp Straka is the better player here. When you look at their history here, Davis Thompson doesn't have much of a history. Sepp Straka's is kind of checkered, but it's littered with really high upside as well and good finishes. I just think Sepp Straka is the better course fit here. Both of these guys can dial in on approach and with the putter. I think Sepp Straka is going to be more reliable off the tee and keep himself in play. I think this course is going to firm up a little bit. I think it's going to be a little bit of a harder course this afternoon than it is right now this morning. And I do think advantage is to the experience with Sepp Straka there. And again, when you look at yesterday's metrics, neither of them were really that good, but Sepp Straka's were a little bit better. So he's checking every box, but he's not checking them in like a huge way. This isn't one of those where I'm like, this should be a blowout. I do think it could be close, but I think Sepp Straka, even at -130, is the play here in this round 2 2-ball. Give me Sepp Straka -130 over Davis Thompson. Let's transition to the Sniper. Let's go to baseball. By the way, Chip, any thoughts on my matchup? I'm sure you didn't look at this particular matchup. On the surface, though, you look at Sepp Straka, you look at Davis Thompson. Any thoughts here?
Yeah, so I had a Russell Henley first round leader yesterday. I was, I know. He did everything you could do, and JT shoots the course record. It happens. It'd be like that sometimes. But the principle, the angle that I was looking to exploit included Sepp Straka, Russell Henley, Sepp Straka, players that have generally been in good form and had disappointing performances at Augusta. A little bit of that bounce back play. So I like that with Straka as well. Somebody who I had circled. They're sort of on my short list going into the weekend.
You want to hear a tough story before we get to Sniper's pick. So I hit my two matchups, went 2-0. So that's great. So my outrights this week, I had 2 basically primary outrights and 2 long shots. It was Justin Thomas at 20-1 to win outright. And I had Bud Cauley in the without market. And then I had 2 long shots in the without market on Ryan Gerard and Sammy Valimaki. Really just kind of like sprinkle plays, no big deal. So effectively I had 2 primary outrights. And in my first round leader card, it mirrored the outrights, except for the fact at the last second, I swapped out JT. I kept everybody else in, swapped out JT, and I put in Sepp Straka, which I never really like. It's just a bad, silly move by me. So I missed out on the first round leader, had it in there, swapped it out. Tough break. But that's the way golf goes.
That's the thing is like we keep going up. I mean, we keep taking swings. That is the relentlessness that we show.
All right. Well, we have some questions in the chat that are baseball related. And there was a question from Mikey B. Sniper about, hey, Sniper, you like the Phillies money line? Not only do you like it, I mean, it feels like you kind of love it.
I don't think that we're going to sweat on that one bit on that leg of the parlay. And that was funny when you said like a Pampers parlay. That really threw me off because my kids are 19 and 18. It's been a long time since I had to think about anything like that. So that really got me in the wrong mindset. But anyway, Mikey B brought me back by mentioning the Phillies on the money line there in that parlay. I absolutely love that inclusion because I have the Phillies on the run line here, getting it at plus money. It's Zach Wheeler versus Sandy Alcantara. That jumps out at you because it looks like a matchup of aces, and it is. Sandy Alcantara won the Cy Young in 2022, but he wasn't near as good in 2023. Then he had Tommy John surgery. He's not all the way back to his old self. His old self is a guy who led the majors in complete games in both 2022 and 23. This year, he hasn't gone deeper in the game than 5 2/3 innings there. His pitch count, he has not been efficient with it. He hasn't even worked up to 100 pitches yet either. So I don't think he's going to go that deep in the game. Plus, I do think the Phillies can get to him. Maybe it'll be this guy, my IU Kyle Schwarber bobblehead. Maybe it'll be him. Maybe it'll be somebody else. But the Phillies are a very powerful lineup. And if they get Alcantara on the ropes, they're liable to do damage with multiple crooked number innings. And I think that this one's not going to be difficult for them. Plus, keep in mind the Marlins started 8-7. They were way too bad of a team to be 8-7. They just got swept by the Diamondbacks, so they're starting to give it back. They're going to continue to give it back this series. They're going to lose every single game in Philadelphia. So I'm all over the Phillies there. Also, remember yesterday I was on the Reds team total, and that ended up hitting, but I was all talking about how Brian Wu was so much worse on the road, and it turned out the Mariners changed pitchers. That didn't matter. We ended up winning anyway. But Brian Wu is going to Toronto right now, and I'm going to stick with the Brian Wu fade here. Why not? He's much worse on the road. His ERA is over 4 on the road in his career. He's only faced the Blue Jays one other time in his career, and they knocked him around. And that was in Seattle at home. This is in Toronto. He's much worse on the road. The Mariners bullpen is also not in good shape at all, as we saw yesterday, coughing up that grand slam in the 8th inning. They had a rough series in Cincinnati. No rest in between. They went straight from Cincinnati to Toronto. I'm on the Blue Jays team total over 3.5 there. If you like home runs in that game, Vlad Jr. finally hit his first home run of the year. He might be starting to get hot power-wise. Also, the big one for me, this is not an official play, but on the home runs, it was mentioned in the chat that the wind is screaming out at Wrigley Field. It's especially good for left-handed hitters in Wrigley, as Mike McClure has talked about several times throughout the year. The wind's blowing out 15 miles per hour to dead center. So you might like any left-hander in this game. Kyle Tucker, Michael Busch, Corbin Carroll, Josh Naylor, Pete Crow Armstrong, who has been hitting the ball really well in the last week, including 2 home runs on Sunday Night Baseball, might be a good high-odd home run play.
I love that. I love the extra stuff. Buckets, I'm going to go to you in a second. I've got a question, and you may have a parlay for us, but let me follow up with you, Sniper, real quick. Tyler Anderson over 4.5 Ks from Steve Folkerts. It's really juicy. It's -152. He plays the San Francisco Giants tonight. It's the last game on a big slate here. Any thoughts on Tyler Anderson Ks or Tyler Anderson in general? It's plus money for the Angels in this one.
Yeah, I don't love that one. I don't know. The Giants, they've been playing over their ceiling so far this year. They feel like a team that can make a lot of contact. If they're seeing the ball well against a lefty, they have a decent number of righties. I don't love that one, actually.
Okay. Buckets. We have actually an MLS question. I don't know if you look at MLS. San Jose State over 1.5 team total. Maybe you didn't look at that, but I get the feeling you have a parlay to offer us as well.
I do, and I can address that San Jose question as well, but I just want to say that I was famously quoted by Kevin Malone that if anyone gives you 10,000 to 1 odds on anything, you take that bet. If John Mellencamp ever wins an Oscar, I will be one rich dude. So it's no Pampers parlay. I'm not as good as Mikey B is by any means, but I did find us a plus 10,000 parlay just for fun, just for a sprinkle here, going over 3 different sports. So real quick here, Desmond Bain to have the first field goal in the matchup between the Mavericks and the Grizzlies. That's plus 580. Ellie De La Cruz to get a double for Reds versus Baltimore Orioles. That's plus 400. And Victor Gyökeres anytime or first goal scorer in the matchup between Sporting and Orleans in Portugal. That's plus 10,000. I'm just throwing that out there.
So, I mean, put $1 on that. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's $1. $1. There you go. There's a question from Ray Brown. There's no juice associated with it, so it's kind of unfortunate. Hard to answer this question, Mikey B. But Ray Brown's asking about Trae Young, 25 plus points. Again, if you're going to put a pick out there, you have to attach the juice. There's no way we can provide adequate analysis there. But let me just ask you this, Mikey B. Anything from Trae Young tonight in terms of, are you looking for him to have a big game? Is 25 plus points in sort of on the radar for you?
We saw when they played the Magic, nobody else on the Hawks can score. I mean, they have some good players. Dyson Daniels is a very good defender, and Onyeka Okongwu is a walking double-double, but they don't have anybody that can take pressure off Trae Young. So even when he has a good defender on him, like he did with the Magic game, and like he's going to have tonight when Davion Mitchell is defending him, he's going to have a very, very high usage rate. And Trae Young can score even on the best. I don't know what the odds are there. I'm not playing his points over or under, but I do think he'll probably come away somewhere around 25 plus points.
Okay. Randy Ortiz says, any thoughts on Justin Thomas over Corey Connors 2-ball today? Chip, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. I actually looked at this one because obviously I'm a little biased towards JT. I have him as an outright. He's in all my big DFS lineups. I'm actually second place right now in the one of the $100 SEs for a few $1,000s. But I mean, it's early. That one will probably end up, winning $40 by the end of 4 rounds. But the point is, I am partial to Justin Thomas. Corey Connors didn't look great yesterday. Again, Randy, I can't remember what the juice was on that. I think it was Justin Thomas in the -120 range. But honestly, if you're not going to include the juice, it's almost impossible for us to memorize what the board looks like. You gotta tell us what the juice is. But I do lean, because I remember looking at that earlier, I lean to JT over Corey today. Although, both of them should be okay. Your thoughts, Chip?
Yeah. I mean, a candidate that I think you and Mike McClure had on the early wedge for the burnout list, right?
Yeah.
When you're making your list of golfers where you just wonder, is it going to be tough to dig deep? And you are guaranteed 4 rounds. That also means you're signing up for 4 rounds. Like, at what point today is Corey Connors in the back of his head, maybe even trying to save a little bit, right? I mean, he's not going to empty the tank when he knows he still has to come back Saturday and Sunday, no matter what. Yeah, I 1 under yesterday, couple birdies, couple bogeys. Game wasn't awesome. I'm not looking to back Corey Connors. So if you want to go JT, I don't hate it.
Yeah, Darren Mercurio is saying Justin Thomas is -120 in that matchup. I think that's a good number on JT. Again, that was something I almost brought to the show, so it's really just a lean for me, but I do like it. Joe Neuenfeld says, how about Straka over Batia? Batia is so hit or miss. So is Straka right now to some degree, but I do lean to Straka at -120 over Batia. Batia was really good on approach yesterday and kind of really bad everywhere else, so something to keep in mind. Buckets, before we get to the recap screen, was there anything soccer related that we missed or any follow-up commentary?
The San Jose question we got was for an MLS match taking place tomorrow. I wouldn't bet that yet. MLS is very finicky with their lineup, so I can't give a read until I see who's starting.
Okay, Mikey B, anything NBA related that we might have missed in the chat that you saw?
No, I'm trying to scroll through all of these here. What an active chat today. There was someone put in a parlay. It was like Desmond Bain, 20 points. I think it was Davion Mitchell over 15.5 points and assists and Heat money line. I think the odds with a boost, because there's a boost out there. It is. Look at that, 15 combined points and assists. Thanks, Ben. Desmond Bain, 20 points, Heat money line with an SGP boost gets you to +431. I do like that too. I would take a chance on that at those odds.
Very interesting. Davion Mitchell had a really efficient game last time out against the Bulls, just kind of making everything. Very, very solid player. Chip, go ahead.
Yeah, while we're shouting out Ben, who is absolutely fantastic. His picks have been great. The chat is starting to warm up to that, but I don't think we appreciate just how sharp this man is.
Yeah.
When we were talking about Bregman with a home run after the baby, he said, shouldn't it be called the baby boom?
Oh, that's great.
Dude.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
We got to get Ben. We got to get Ben on the show. He needs to make appearances on the show, not just with his picks, but with his face and his personality as well. We're going to start doing that soon because Ben is.
That's too much Indiana. Too much Hoosiers. Okay, I've already seen Kyle Tucker and Sniper. We can't get even.
Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, we'll get Ben on in non-buckets Sniper shows, so there's not too much of that region if that's where you're headed. Buckets, Sniper, anything MLB related that we need to cover?
I think we're good. Brandon Silva just put in the chat, Mets first 5 team total over 2.5. Yeah, I mean, Miles Nicholas on the road. He got the Mets today.
Oh, I love that already. You all know that, I've only made 2 baseball bets. One of them was fading Michaelis. It happened to be probably his only good start, his first start of the season.
And I also wanted to point out when Mike went to do the parlay and he said it was combined basketball and baseball, and he started with Desmond Bain. I had a split-second panic in my mind where I was like, wait a minute, this is a baseball player I somehow haven't heard of. Who is that? Until he said 20 points, and I was like, oh, okay, that's basketball.
I'm good. I will say this.
I would have heard of this dude, and he's betting him, but okay.
That's funny. I'm going to include, I'm going to come up with my own little money line parlay. I didn't even realize, because I've been so intoxicated with golf lately, I didn't realize Michaelis was on the mound. Mets first 5, it's probably going to be close to -200. That's going to be a parlay piece for me today. I just want to point that out. Peterson against Michaelis. I'll just fade Michaelis every time in the first 5 and see how I do. All right. I think we covered. My God, I don't even know what that means, Jeff. We got a comment in the chat. I'm not
maybe because turkeys are so huge. It's when you see guys throwing beach balls up there.
So If you're listening to the podcast, Jeff Stenberg in the chat, he was extremely funny. He says, Michaelis is an absolute turkey tosser. That's such a funny image.
I've been around baseball terms my whole life, so I haven't heard that.
We have, by the way, we have like well over 500 people watching right now. Some of you may, for whatever reason, you may be in here, but you're not subscribed to the SportsLine YouTube channel. We've got 108,000 subscribers as we're talking right now. Let's get to 110, 120. If you're not subscribed, just make sure you've clicked that button. Maybe you want to click the notifications button as well. And obviously, when you're in here, hit the like button if you can. What a show. Do we have anything else to wrap up before I get to the recap screen? This is an amazing show so far. Hand up, anybody? Okay, okay, we've already gone 35 minutes. Oh my gosh, we got to get out of here. Incredible imagery, says the SportsLine account. Of course, that's Ben. Let's take a look at the imagery of the recap screen. I've got a round 2 ball later on this afternoon. Get it in now. Sepp Straka minus 130 over Davis Thompson. Then we got another round 2 ball. It is Chip Patterson, Jordan Spieth, even money over Shane Lowry. Then we've got Mikey B going to the other side. Heat money line, minus 104. And Desmond Bain over 21.5 points at minus 120. He said, if you have it at 22.5 at likely lesser juice, of course, he would be okay with you taking that. All right. We got soccer picks. Brøndby over 1.5 team total at minus 125. Porto versus Famalicão, both teams to score minus 110. And Stade Rennais over 1.5 team total minus 120. It's Rennes, isn't it? Stade Rennes. That's on me. Over 1.5 team total minus 120. Then we go to baseball. A lot of baseball picks, home run props discussed in the chat, but here are the 2 official plays. Phillies minus 1.5. That's the run line at plus 110. Blue Jays team total over 3.5 at minus 115. Not done yet. Jaylen Brown over 18.5 points at minus 120, courtesy of PropStars. Do not forget, yesterday's show, PropStars had a pick and Mackenzie Brooks had a pick. So make sure if you missed that show, you check that out. And then we've got the New York Mets run line, minus 1.5 at plus 130, courtesy of JLC. And let's not forget about our producer continuing his streak. Grizzlies first quarter, minus 1.5. Again, Grizzlies first quarter, minus 1.5 at, let's see, minus 112, I think it was. Buckets had to go. He's got other obligations. Probably didn't know this show was going to go almost 40 minutes. What a great show. Cranberry sauce is being mentioned in the chat. I missed that because I was doing the recap screen. Cranberry sauce,
turkey, because of the
most overrated Thanksgiving item you could possibly have is cranberry sauce. I stand on that hill proudly. Yeah. Mikey B, Chip Patterson, the Sniper, Ben, all of you in the chat. Thanks for being in here. We'll do it again Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock. Got all the early wedge shows, all the special shows. It is going to be a great weekend. Hopefully we have a positive recap screen on Monday, and hopefully we see all of you on Monday as well. Let's have a great Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Don't forget the early wedge. We've got a show tonight after the round, and we've got a show 1 o'clock, the live betting show with me, Mike McClure, Jason Sobel, and maybe Patrick McDonald on that one as well. A lot going on at the brand. Thanks for being a part of it. Have a great weekend. We rest our case.